Got it, okay.
He won't decide counting toward the vote.
Right.
Okay. Call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, October 21st. We can do a roll call.
Commissioner Ernst,
Here.
Commissioner Engel,
Here.
Commissioner Rollins is absent this evening. Commissioner Vogelsang. Here. And Commissioner Ray.
Here. Any changes to the agenda? No. That's not you, that's me.
It's like, what do I do?
Public requests. We have any public requests?
Yes, I made this.
Yes.
Please state your name and you have 3 minutes. And address, please.
Absolutely. Good evening. I'm Garth Duff Gray. Address is 5601 Nassau Drive, Boca Raton, 33487. I'm here tonight to represent the Boca Raton Bucks Rugby Club with an appeal for your support for rugby fields in the city. I've been here a number of times before, so thank you for permitting me to come back. And I look forward to a productive further 2.5 minutes. Some quick rugby news. In July, the United States won a not a gold medal. They won a medal at the Olympic Games for rugby. It's the first time since about 1924. So rugby is really getting a lot of attention and there's a lot of growth in the sport. Second thing is that from a senior standpoint of kids that play rugby on our club, last graduation, we had eight of our graduating class that were given scholarships to attend university, which they would not have been able to do without that help. So from the standpoint of assisting the community, we get quite a bit done. We get quite a lot done as it relates to helping the youth. And finally, 2 of our players were elected to the USA Eagles, which is the national team for the United States that plays in the World Rugby. So we're very and extraordinarily proud about them. So again, I'm here asking for your support and help in obtaining 2 fields, again, in the city. The proposal is that we chase after Southwest 18th, the old Department of Transportation rest stop off of Southwest 18th and I-95. I did provide a handout which shows you the Google Maps view or the satellite view of the location, and we can quite easily fit 2 fields, north and south oriented, into that space. There's quite a bit of development there already. This place has not been used for about 20 to 30 years, and we think that it is time to get it into productive use, and we hope that you will help getting that done. And to that end, we would ask, and we are going to appeal to the city again, to provide that land or donate the land for use for those 2 fields. And then with your support and your budgetary help, develop it into a sports facility that not only supports rugby, but of course any other team sports. So again, to keep this short, I'm hoping that you will contemplate and consider this, and please provide us with your budgetary support as we move forward with the city. I've been to the city a couple of times, got waylaid by a number of very contentious other city events that were occurring at the time. So when I showed up to talk about rugby, there were people fainting, in the council chamber with relief that it wasn't something extraordinarily controversial. So any questions?
How many of your players are residents versus non-residents?
I would say between 50 to 60%. That is in all
Are
things.
residents?
Sorry?
50 to 60?
Residents.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I understand the implications of that question, but please understand as well that we pay for non-residents, and my little club spends between $3,500 to $5,000 each season paying for the non-residents. So again, this is
How
not
many
about
seasons?
season lasts from September through May. And again, our main interest is, of course, to try and grow Boca rugby in Boca. And I certainly think that additional facilities would be useful in that regard.
I have a question.
Yes,
What
that's
was,
right.
what was the response of the city?
Again, it was right after they had literally an hour and a half, very difficult and contentious meeting regarding a commercial property that they wish to develop on, I think Palmetto Park Road, where the old Kmart was. So, there were a lot of people there. Everyone had an opinion.
Got it.
And frankly, the council got quite brutalized.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you asked them about building out phase 2 at DeHornley to help you out?
We've made the request. The thing that of great concern to me, and I'm not sure from a parliamentarian standpoint how to progress, because whenever I do one of these with the city and ask for how can I assist with next steps, there's a pretty stony silence. And I never get a name that I could work with, or a commission or a committee, anyone that I could do follow-ups with and try and get this thing moving. So it's very difficult to gauge the success of these requests. We certainly wouldn't mind having 2 fields at the future development. But again, we're looking at, pretty low-hanging fruit of a facility that's not being used and that won't take a huge amount of money to develop.
Well, it seems like
What
it
would
would
you-
take a lot more money to develop that than to, with all the tree removal and everything, than it would to do phase 2 over at DeHornley. So that's what I'm,
Could be.
Well, and getting the city to donate the land would be a
That's,
big ask as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, that's the rub.
Have you had any meetings or talks with Greg Stevens, the director of Parks and Recreation?
No, not Greg. I deal frequently with the people in his organization regarding fields and field use
Right.
and more mundane
I
stuff
would try
like
to go
that.
directly to the top if I were you.
You do that. That's great advice. Thank you. That's right.
I could send an email to introduce them.
Yeah. Brienne can send an email,
Okay, that'll be
and
wonderful.
to Greg and CCU so that you're introduced, and so maybe some discussions can
Okay.
start. But obviously, I mean, I think it's a great idea, but we don't own the land.
Understood.
The city does.
Yeah,
So in terms of even discussing, supporting something like this, I think the first step would be for them to say, yeah, we'll give you the land.
yeah, certainly not to be argumentative, but it's a chicken and the egg catch-22 type situation.
Right.
They're hoping to hear from me, I'm assuming, that there'll be support from this group and vice versa. I understand that you guys would prefer to have their support before making a big allocation like that.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, personally, I think it'd be a great idea. This piece of land lying fallow. Oh, why not put it to good use? But as Commissioner Wright said, this isn't our land.
Understood. yeah.
So if the city said, okay, we'll donate the land, we have to have that before we can move forward on the land, before any development can take place. As far as the second phase of DeHornley, that might be for us an easier egg to crack because we're already involved there. This would be a whole new ballgame. So as Commissioner Wright said, I would go to Greg Stevens and camp outside his office, call him 5 or 10 times an hour. Just generally make a pest out of yourself. I'm serious. You don't have to go to that extreme, but get him to understand that this is something that's needed. Greg is a good man. He'll listen to you. But if I were in your shoes, that's how I would proceed.
Thank you for that advice. Appreciate it. Our intention is to go to city council and we'll have a couple of hundred people because we have perhaps between 130, I'm expecting about 150 kids in our program this year. You figure there are 2 parents involved in most of those. So we believe we could show up with a pretty significant crowd. Again, getting attention and some traction has been the most difficult challenge over the past 10, 12 years. So I really appreciate the advice and Commissioner, appreciate that advice as well, and I'll chase that down. Let me ask, is there any potential or possibility to get a soft sign of support from this district commission?
You mean on this particular plan?
Yeah, just generally the support for fields and to assist with development from the district's budget.
I mean, at this point, I don't, I mean, I
Can I say
I would support you and your club and obviously the fact that you need more fields. But I'm not sure, because this would be a big cost. So I don't think I would do it at this point, but obviously I support you going to the city and, because I don't know anything about this plot of land, nothing. So not knowing anything about it, I don't think I could support it at this point, but obviously I do support rugby and the fact that you do need more fields to play on. So that would be something that we could discuss more, having Brianne talk about it with Greg and then you pursuing it as well. Go ahead.
I guess I happen to walk probably 3 days a week by this property. And it's a bit of a shame that the city has it in the inventory, but never ever used it. You know, it's got, it is the former rest stop off of 95. It's got restrooms. It's got a lot of debris such as, I guess, stadium seating laying around. It's got all the things that you could do. It's got a lot of trees in the way like anything. It's just kind of been overgrown and let go for 20, 30 years. So to me as a resident, I don't think any resident in this area really knows much about the city or the district, even though we've done a great job of communicating. We've improved a lot. But people go to the parks, they look for a park, and it really doesn't, they want to go there. And I also have been a very big champion of support our volunteers in a timely manner. And our volunteers are the people who do the work, do the soccer clubs, do the baseball, the little leagues. Those are the people that we really have done the best with. And they've made this district what it is. So I'm happy to endorse, support rugby. But I would also say like you, we need to find out what are the costs, what's the deal on these things. Is there a funding issue? Because that's the next thing. It's one of the two things. You have the land and you have the funding. So Garth is saying, if I found the land, you have the money. I think we could rummage up a couple $100 million if we needed to clear it and make it useful for anyone. But so can the city. But they're dealing with a lot of many different things. And if they can prioritize Spanish to Hornley as something, we've been on this board, Aaron, for 8 years. And yet phase 2 of Spanish to Hornley has not been looked at, touched upon. And by the way, that doesn't have the infrastructure that this already has. This has roads. This has everything but trees in the way. So yes, it's a project for someone. And yes, it's a project for whoever takes it on, but it would be nice to help our volunteer community support our youth and for the next generation of people in Boca. And I think this is a good opportunity to press on this one. And I support you, Garth, and I'll go down there if I have to. But from our board perspective, we need more information to say this is the money amount. I get it.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you talk to Greg Stevens, I'd like to get a better history. I know it was a rest stop, but also across 18th Street, I was a coach over there and the garbage was, bubbling up while, glass and tin
El Rio.
over at El Rio. So if that was also part of that landfill, I'd like to know about it for the safety of your players. I mean, that was totally annoying back in the day, and I'm sure it still is a bit of a problem. So if we could get a history on whether that was part of that landfill, it would be very helpful.
Okay. Garth, can you leave your email with Joanne before you go tonight?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate you guys have always been very supportive and really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're still in public requests. Do we have anybody else who wants to? What up? Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
It'll be short and sweet. My name's Sil Ciliberti. I live at 6200 Northwest Second Avenue, Boca Raton, Florida. I wasn't sure of the updated on the, what was considered the eyesore of, the crossroad at North Park, the old tennis courts. I didn't know if you guys were still open for suggestions. I know there were some suggestions. I don't know the exact, where we're at with it, but, I thought of some things, but, and I could jot it down and email you all if it's still open or if the, proposal is full swing. Just let me know and I'm all for that too. Thank you.
So we always appreciate your ideas. We did vote at the last meeting to work with the city because the city owns that side still. So the idea right now is just to do like a pop-up, what's called a traffic garden, where you will resurface those tennis courts and then they paint lines so kids can go there to learn to ride their bikes for now. It's just going to be a temporary amenity there. And the city's going to help us do that on that corner just to kind of improve that location. So it's not a permanent fix. It's just until we start finishing that west side. But we are moving, we're getting quotes right now for that. But if you have ideas for things, I always am open. You can send those anyway.
Anybody else for public requests? Nope. Okay, closing public requests, and we'll do approval of the minutes of the previous board meeting held on October 7th.
Move to approve?
Second,
Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Engel?
yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang?
Yes.
And Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, regular business, executive director, the first one is the executive director revised agreement that we discussed at the last meeting.
Commissioners, page 7 of your agenda packets is just a brief memo outlining this is the amendment that memorializes the action that the board took at the last meeting. Just need a motion tonight to approve.
Move to approve the second amendment to Brianne Harm's employment agreement.
Second,
Any further discussion?
Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Engel?
yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, moving on to number 2, Patrick Park Playground Change Order.
Commissioners, on page 10 of your agenda packets, this is also a action that was taken at the previous meeting was to do a change order on the playground to put in a new surface. So asking tonight for approval of the change order as presented.
Move to approve the change order for $63,269.60.
Second,
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Engel?
yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, moving on to number 3, project updates, Brianne.
Commissioners, this is just a brief overview of all the things that we have going on right now. A lot of times we talk about the big things like North Park and the tennis, I'm sorry, oops, I said tennis, I meant pickleball. The pickleball facility over at Patch Reef, but we have a lot of projects going on. So this is just a brief overview and I wanted to put that out there just on record so everybody is aware of where we're at on everything. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. But just briefly, the pickleball construction project is ongoing. They've started the rough grading of the courts. That's the latest step in that. Where the column repair project is working through permitting still. The roof replacements at Sugar Stand will continue with those. So we'll probably have that in front of you guys in November for an approval. The generator replacement is still on track for November and the City of Boca's facilities team is coordinating that installation. We have the shower repairs that were started here. That continues to go on. We're finishing the ones over at the tennis center. So this facility restrooms, the showers are done here. We're fixing the showers over there. And then we'll wrap that up. The playground renovations, we're in permitting, very close to getting that finished up. We have the pool resurfacing that'll go out to bid. You guys will have a consideration hopefully in December to award that bid. The multi-sport rink the roof structure, we've given the notice to proceed to KCI. North Park, we're waiting on the construction documents. We'll get that out to bid for the first phase. The temporary traffic garden that we referenced during public comments, we're getting quotes, meeting people out there this week to finish those quotes up. And so we hope to have that to come to you guys in November for an approval. And then the fire prevention is ongoing at our parks. We had the ball field renovations that we voted on in our budget as well. So we're just waiting on a design proposal from Spark Design to bring that before the board as well. And then the security enhancements, just signed the work orders today for those at Patch Reef and Swim and Racket Center. So all these things are just moving along. We have a lot of things, a lot of improvements in our park. Some of them don't get as much notice as, say, 18 covered pickleball courts, but they're still all important and all a commitment to continuing to improve our facilities.
Okay, any questions, Steve?
Yeah, on playground renovations,
Yes.
has the contractor asked for a conditional permit, says here, that was supposed to have been done on the 18th. I just want to make sure it was done.
No, they did.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steve, they didn't get the final, the city is waiting on some shade sail structure to review and have signed off on by the architect engineer. In addition, they're waiting for the roof joist design to be signed off by the engineer. They don't have that from their subcontractor yet. They were anticipating they would have it, but it looks like it's going to be a little later. So what they've done is they submitted everything today. And I've just sent an email back to them confirming those are the only two things we're waiting on, so that I can place a call to the city tomorrow and see if there's any way they would consider a conditional permit to let us go ahead and move forward. So I'll report that to Brianne, and she can call in and help if she'd like to, but that's what we're working to try to do.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, as the demolition and everything gets started on the playground, would you communicate pictures for us? We really would appreciate it, and maybe
We'll have Chuck
will
out
do
there.
An article.
Groundbreaking. Yeah, as soon as we get that. conditional, Yeah, we do want to schedule a groundbreaking for that as soon as we get that permit closer. So we'll get that out there.
Brianne, this
Yes.
is like there's a lot there. And my question, is it possible as things get more, once permitted or something,
Uh-huh.
that you could put a target date on these things?
Yes.
When it'll be done? I mean,
Yeah.
let's say you got the 20 items and that 5 of them are kind of way out there and we don't want, or 10 of them way out there, but as they move up, that we zero in on a target date. I mean, it could be a range even,
Yes.
but then we kind of hold ourselves and everyone accountable to try to hit that.
We have target dates, so I can send you this was just
it's
abbreviated
good.
for the sake of the agenda packet not being too large to send out, but we
Yeah.
can send you out all the details and much more specifics on.
Doesn't have to be a lot of detail. I'm just saying.
Okay,
A
the dates,
target date
yes,
range, as
yes.
you get closer, then it's kind of like zeroing in on where
Yeah.
you're landing, and that's good. Then we all know.
Yes.
So, okay.
Okay, any other questions? No? All right. So we'll move on to approval of payroll and invoices.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval of payroll and invoices in the amount of $396,763.10.
Second?
Commissioner Ernst,
Yes.
Commissioner Engel,
Yes,
Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, reports and discussion items.
Just a few items. This was the update on all the projects that we are managing at the district, but we do fund projects in the city. So at Red Reef Golf, they're awaiting some procurement for tee box renovations and doing some ceiling and ductwork repair in the pro shop there. I know one of our commissioners uses that facility often, so that's ongoing there. Gummalimba Boardwalks, the contractor's preparing a work order to work on those south repairs. For those of us who've been out there a lot to see the tower, there's that one section that needs to be redone, so they're getting that work through. And then, of course, Halloween is here. It's hard to believe the end of October is nearing, but Boca Boo Days is a collection of events happening in the city. A lot of those are at our facilities. So you can go to the city's website to see all these events, but we have everything from learning the science behind spooky sounds at the Explorium to costume tennis parties. And then, of course, some of the staples of the Haunted Hammock at Gumbo Limbo and the Monster Mash event is here this Sunday. So these are all really great events if you guys want to go out and see them or invite your family and friends to them. Lots going on here. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Council?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have nothing at the General Counsel's office to report this evening. So thank you.
Okay, Steve?
thanks again, Brianne, for everything that you do. Other than that, I'm good.
Great.
One item I want to mention was the pickleball, the recreation from the city. I thought that was pretty good, that they've got the programming started. As we get further along in the 18th, I had a couple of requests, not a lot, but a couple of requests for corporate or company team kind of pickleball, interleague play, just like what they do for softball and other sports and
Mhm.
golf, for the general community. I mean, the corporations do pay a lot, and it's a nice amenity to offer to bring people back into the workforce from COVID. They're still
Right.
working our way through all that stuff. So if they'll give that consideration, that'd be great.
Okay.
So, that's it. It's good. Thank you.
I'm good.
Okay. One thing I was recently at pickleball, there on Sunday morning, and it was quite a long wait, so I'm just wondering if they would give consideration to doing open play pickleball on Sundays, maybe possibly just for the winter months, when it does get, the busiest out there. Just as a consideration to see if it's something, because I know Friday nights is, but it's not as attended, I don't believe, as Sunday mornings. So, just throw it out there to the city and see if that's doable.
Okay. Will do.
Do you have did you miss public comment? Do you mind if Raul goes up? I am done with my,
I'd love to
Yes.
hear Raul.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We love roll.
Name it.
Can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah.
Raul Travieso, 1037 West Royal Palm Road here in Boca. I actually just text Jim Haniger this morning from the Recreations Department just to make sure that we reinstitute the Sunday morning play for kids. So there'll be 3 courts for children, youth, and 3 courts for adults
At the field house?
after,
this is at the field house,
at the field house.
Sugar Sand, yeah.
After, at Sugar Sand,
Right.
after Boca Hoops completes their season.
Right.
So that's on board and we're moving forward with that. I just thought I'd add that.
And
So
that starts the first week of November again?
It's pretty soon, yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
think they have a couple weeks left still, Boca
Yeah.
Hoops. Yeah,
So
okay, thank you.
we're on board with that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Engel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
yes,
Motion passed.
we are adjourned.